The tale of a 20th-century socialite who dedicated her life to exploring the Arctic and became the first woman to fly across the North Pole is being told in a new book. Louise Arner Boyd, born in 1887, inherited her parents' huge fortune in 1920 and spent it on several death-defying explorations of some of the most remote parts of the world, challenging the view of what was required of a young high society debutante. Images from the new biography show her on the deck of one of her ships in 1926, proudly standing next to a polar bear she has shot, and in another she is posing in a jeweled gown as she is being presented to the King of England at Buckingham Palace. Born in San Rafael, California, to a millionaire mining magnate father and a mother from one of New York's most prestigious families, Miss Arner Boyd inherited a staggering family fortune when her parents died in 1919 and 1920 respectively. With it she began to travel extensively, seeing as much of the world as she could until, on a trip to Norway in 1924, she saw something that would shape the course of the rest of her life: the Polar Ice Pack. She dedicated her life to Arctic expeditions, and in 1928, Miss Arner Boyd found herself involved in a search for missing Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen. Miss Arner Boyd's explorations from 1931 to 1938 included regions in and around Franz Josef Land, Spitsbergen, Greenland, Mayen Island and eastern Arctic Canada. She made history in June 1955 when she became the first woman in the world to fly over the North Pole in her ship S.S.Veslekari was the first to sail to the inner ends of Ice Fjord, Greenland. She was honored by the United States government and a number of foreign governments for her geographic studies and explorations. Her life is being retold by author Joanna Kafarowski in the new book The Polar Adventures of a Rich American Dame, of Life of Louise Arner Boyd. Decades before the Americans didn't reach the North Pole, Norwegian explorer Fridtjof Nansen made a good go of it. During a 3-year expedition in 1893-96, his team reached a record northern latitude of 86 degrees 142, the furthest north anyone had managed to travel at the time. Nansen also famously led the first team to ski across Greenland in 1888 and later in life became involved in the League of Nations, later replaced by the UN, and was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1922. The Norwegian explorer was the first to reach the South Pole on 14 December 1911. And after leading a team flying to the North Pole in 1926, he became the first person to reach both poles. In June 1928, Amundsen and 5 crew disappeared during a flight in the Arctic to rescue missing explorers. The search was called off in September, and their bodies have never bin found. In 1986, American adventurer Anne Bancroft, 62, became the first woman to trek to the North Pole. She is also the first woman to cross both polar ice caps to reach the North and South Pole, and in 1993 she led the first all-female polar expedition to reach the South Pole.